Hello and welcome back to the X-Files Revisited. We are on to episode 18 of season 2, which is called Fearful Symmetry. Brian, tell me about this legacy episode, how this has stood the test of time.
Playing it fast and loose with the word legacy there, aren't you? It's just average, man. Like, so beyond average. I mean, that's the way I remembered it. That's the way it kind of came across during this viewing. And it's the way I would hazard a guess is how you will feel about it as well. I'd be very shocked if this turns out to be a strong one for you. But let's see, shall we?
Yeah, I've got to say, like, most of these episodes, I don't even read anything about them. I just click play on the next one and I don't know a thing. So other than what you tell me, I'm never sure quite exactly what I'm going to get.
I think it's the best way to go into it, to be honest. I mean, like I say, I've said this before, going back to when these first came out, there was nothing, you know. Science fiction was for complete nerds. If you like science fiction, you were just a Trekkie, you know. And Trekkie it wasn't a good badge of honour back then. These days, it kind of is in many ways. But going back when these came out, that was it. Every week, X-Files would be on the TV. I'd sit down to watch it, and I wouldn't have a clue what was going to come on. So I think there's some value in that, you know, and it's lost on today's culture, really, in which we know absolutely everything before the episode even comes on air. So, but let's get into
the best way. Yeah, let's go.
Okay. So we open up the episode and two janitors see an invisible force destroying half the street. Then some road workers see it. One of these road workers gets hit by whatever this invisible force is, gets properly nailed, killed even. And then a truck driver is kind of just, minding his own, driving along when an elephant just suddenly appears. Out of nowhere, and then we kind of cut from there to the elephant lying on the road, basically dying. It's as if it's kind of run itself into exhaustion. So, four scenes that all kind of tie together to build the picture of this invisible elephant running around destroying things. What do you think?
I think it's a terrific opening. I really do. I mean, it starts off with the janitors and whatever municipal building they seem to be into, you don't really know what to expect. And then you get this thundering noise, and then you start to see the windows crash, and then the things just move out its way, and you're like, man, this is pretty cool. I don't know what this is, but it's something tangible that we can't see. And then you see the road workers, and it's knocking the signs down, and then there's that one guy that's just like, I see all these things moving, but I'm not moving. No. I'm going to stand here. And then we get the elephant just appearing out the mist, which is a great effect again. At this point, I'm like, this is pretty damn interesting. I don't know where this is going to go. I don't know the explanation, but I am curious to find out.
It's a bizarre one, isn't it? It's like, it's not what you expect to see, really. Even in the X-Files, an elephant randomly running down the street and then appearing out of nowhere. I like the little exchange between the janitors, these two guys, and the way that one janitor seems to be a bit of a, got some kind of anally retentive disorder, the way he puts his cigarette kind of on the floor, stood up. And then you got that girl crying because the elephant's dying. I don't know why I found that funny, but I did. That's my mean streak coming out. But, intrigued enough, I'll say that much. But then we get the opening titles, and we move into Mulder and Scully. They're at the scene of the janitor, where the janitors were, kind of investigating this bizarre invisible force that's destroyed the street. And Mulder he's all over this. He instantly says invisible elephant because obviously he's heard the reports of the elephant that kind of came out of nowhere and then died on the roadside. He's put two and two together and come up with, invisible elephant. There's a law enforcement dude who introduces himself, says an elephant could have done the damage, and they need to see Willa Ambrose. So this guy, his name is Ed Meacham. He basically works for this Willa Ambrose. We'll find out a little later on. But so he basically confirms that yes, this kind of damage could be done by an elephant, which is enough to make Mulder more than happy that his theory is precisely what is going on.
It's kind of following that trope, only this time we get like a zoo officer. Rather than your typical like dumb deputy that we usually get. But he seems so like blasé and uninterested, It's like, why has he turned up at that scene when the elephant's miles away? And Mulder's like, could the elephant have done this? And he's like, I guess. Yeah. Come on, let's go.
like for me, right off the bat, I sense that it is some kind of animosity towards this Willa Ambrose character. Like the way he says it, the way it comes across, and obviously the next scene we'll get a taste of that from her side. You don't really get the sense that these two have a lot of love for each other.
For sure.
But given where the episode goes, it's a bit of a contradiction. So, but we'll get there when we get there. So we go from there. Mulder and Scully go to the zoo to see Ambrose. She's a proper animal rights type. There's definitely some animosity between her and Ed Meacham because she's his boss and she's a woman. And she points them to the WAO. I didn't quite catch what that stands for, but something like Wild Animals Organisation or something like that. So they believe that, those kind of animals that are in the wild, that are used to being in the wild, should stay in the wild and not in zoos. But what do you make of Ambrose from this scene?
She's definitely extremely defensive almost straight away and dismissive of their jobs. She's kind of snarky, but snarky in a fun way. When she says elephants aren't particularly good jumpers, when they're looking at the cage. I don't like her.
But there is something about her, isn't there, that just kind of she's got that
I'm better than you.
Yeah, that proper like over the top animal rights / feminist kind of vibe about her. And I don't want to enrage feminists. I would like to point out I am a feminist if you go off the true definition of the word. But what I mean is the derogatory term that is used to classify those people who don't believe in equality, but rather putting women at the very top. And I get the sense that there's a bit of that in her, that she's just, I don't know, so full of herself, I guess, that, I don't know, I get the sense that she's one of these people who just has blinkers on. When she has a particular idea about something, it's that way or the highway, and anyone else who gets in her way is just, I don't know, expendable, I guess. I mean, we're reading a lot into this from this scene, but it's just, you get vibes from people, don't you? And that's the vibe I get from her in this scene. But, so they go to see this WAO guy. I can't remember his name. But
Kyle Lang.
Kyle, that's it. So they go to see this guy, Kyle, and he basically gives his over-the-top animal rights speech that, I feel like we're just meeting character after character after character in this, that there seems to be
the problem is none of them are interesting, or none of them you want to see their tale or see their side of it. They're all abrasive in one way or another.
Yeah, I think out of the three, Kyle is probably the most interesting to me personally. Still not necessarily someone I'd want to see a series revolved around, but I mean, he is what he is, isn't he? He's exactly what it says on the tin. He's an animal rights activist, and all that implies in a negative kind of way, I guess. So Kyle shows them a video of how Ed Meacham treats the animals, says that Ambrose is too preoccupied fighting a lawsuit to keep a gorilla to do anything about it. Meanwhile, while he's telling them this and showing them this video, some dodgy guy watches them from the shadows. Kind of looks a little bit like Daniel Craig, like a budget Daniel Craig.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. Again, like I said, I know you kind of like Kyle out of all three of them, probably the same, but again, it's just, I feel as if already we should be into the city meat of the story, and it just feels as if we're treading familiar ground, and it's not really getting anywhere.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of setup. That's the problem for me. Yeah. It's like we're setting up. Okay, we're setting up. Okay, another new character. We're setting up. Okay, so it's like, okay, come on, just get on with it. So, yeah, Scully thinks that the WAO are responsible. She plays stakeout while Mulder goes to talk to the animals, as he says. Yeah, Scully's not too impressed with this guy.
No.
Thinks he's a bit of a douche, by all accounts.
I think she's pretty right.
Yeah, I think she's right to assume that. But yeah, so as per usual, Mulder and Scully split up, because he's got one theory that he's going to check out, she's got another. There's been recent episodes where they've not done that, although, to be honest, I think I'm getting my wires crossed with season 11. I think you're going to like season 11 when we eventually get there, because there's been a lot of episodes so far where they don't split up, where they stay on the investigation together, and it's nice. It's good to see, I gotta say. But anyway, we're not there. We're in season 2. But yeah, so we go back to that trope of them splitting up. So Scully does stakeout. Mulder goes to speak to the animals, and by the animals he means the lone gunmen. Not all of the lone gunmen. No Langley, because he has some philosophical issues with having his image bounced off a satellite, apparently. So yeah, Byers says that the zoo sits near a UFO hotspot, I should say. And Frohickey says no baby animals have been born in the zoo. Not a cub or a chick. Nothing. Nada. Zip. Zilch. Diddly squat. Bupkis.
So you're saying none?
No animals. No baby animals. That's right.
I think they mentioned as well, none of the workers have been pregnant either or carried a full baby to term.
Yeah, I don't know if that was just
I picked that up.
in reference to the animals. Yeah, it could have been. I might have been falling asleep at this point, but
you get the lone gunman, and instantly you're like, yes, these are interesting characters. They brighten up the screen. They're funny, engaging, and I am interested in these people.
2/3 of the lone gunman. Yeah, I love Frohickey's little line about when he says, if Scully's there, tell her I've been working out. I'm buff.
Yeah,
he's so creepy.
But it's fun.
Yeah,
it is. It's funny. It's entertaining. And then you get after this little peek, we go back into the humdrum of the story.
Yeah. Okay. So Scully calls to say that she followed the dodgy-looking Daniel Craig budget dude to the zoo, and it looks like she was right. They are about to do something, or going to try and do something, because her theory is that they're the ones who let the elephant go, and if that's correct, chances are they will try and do the same thing. So they do, and this is the thing with this scene is, what is he there for exactly? Because he gets his video camera out. So is he just there to film animals doing nothing in cages?
Yeah, seems rather strange. He's taking a video of a tiger in a cage.
Like, I can understand him going there to film whilst Ed Meacham is there, trying to capture some animal cruelty on camera, but none of that. So it's literally just animals in cages. Is he going there as Scully thinks, which is to try and let one of these animals go? It doesn't look likely because, Why has he got the camera? But if he is, then it also doesn't play well into the opening scene, because clearly they're not the ones who let the elephant go. So it's all just a bit happenstance, a little bit coincidental, circumstantial, and yeah, you know, the fact that what is about to happen happens just as he gets there again. Coincidence, a contrivance, you might say.
I would say all of them. It's just all there for a specific reason. And the reason is to get from A to B to make something spooky happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So that spooky thing that happens is that there is a flashing light, the kind you see in an alien abduction, the kind we've seen with the likes of Dwayne Barry and Max Fennig. And yeah, the tiger is out of its cage and attacks the guy. Why it isn't completely abducted, although I guess that you could say there is that 9 minutes loss of time. We're never shown that there is that, but it's quite feasible given this is X-Files, that they took it for 9 minutes, did something with it, and then brought it back. Though
I think
why they managed to bring it back to the zoo and not the elephant, I don't know. It's all a bit muddled. But yeah, go on.
Well,
tell us what's the obvious.
The obvious is alien eco-warriors. They want to free the animals. They're like the alien version of the WAO. They do mention, though, I think Mulder mentions at some point that the animals are being abducted. We know that they're being, or they all seem to have, or be pregnant, the ones that are being abducted. Mm-hmm. And then when they're getting put back, they're never getting put back in the right place. They're always getting put back away from that location, as if there's some kind of abnormality. So I don't know if they're saying that they're being artificially inseminated or what when they're being abducted. It never comes right now and says it, but you get all these little nuggets and hints that this is possibly what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I get the sense that they're being artificially inseminated, put back, and then taken again so that they can set the babies and store them. It's basically, this is essentially Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home. Okay?
I love that one, Brian.
I do actually. I do actually like
terrific.
It quite a lot. It's one of the better Star Trek films. But it is that story. Aliens come to take animals that are endangered and I don't know, store them somewhere so that the species is preserved. It is. It's literally Star Trek 4, Voyage Home. So yeah. Anyway, Scully follows him in, bumps into Meacham. Mulder arrives bloody quickly, I must say, and completely pointlessly as well, because his arrival means absolutely diddly squat. Yeah. Like literally, we see, she phones him, and then we cut to the stuff that's going on in the zoo, and then we see Mulder turning up. Now, when you do that in a show or a film, you assume that character who has then turned up is either going to save the day or stumble into something they shouldn't have and end up getting in trouble, or in some way be part of what is going on. But he's not.
Yep.
So it's just, these scenes are completely perfunctory. They're just not necessary. So yeah, so Mulder does nothing.
Just quickly go back to the tiger attack on the guy. I think that's pretty well done. I quite like it.
Yes, yeah. There's a bit where we see a close up on the camera on the floor, and we see him slightly out of focus in the background, getting mauled by some invisible force. I like that. I think that's good. It's effective. Very well done. So yeah, there you go. Scully has words with WAO leader. What did you say his name was? Kyle. So yeah, Scully has a word with Kyle, who denies all knowledge which just pisses her off, as she says. Yeah, she gets really... This guy just rubs her the wrong way, big time. You don't usually see Scully losing her cool like that, but yeah, this guy gets under her skin. Mulder arrives to tell her that the man had been attacked by a phantom, not a lion, presumably because they've checked back the footage and seen it.
Yeah.
And they've seen that something invisible is attacking this guy.
So hang on, how can Mulder look at the street and go, yeah, definitely an invisible alien, and then look at this and go, it's a phantom?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was just a facetious comment by Mulder, a bit of sarcasm on his part, or just pointing out the fact that, well, yeah, I think it's a mountain lion, but the video footage says otherwise, you know. So, yeah, you're never quite sure with Mulder in that regard, but okay. So Mulder and Scully go to see Ambrose again, and Sophie the Gorilla. Sophie is a gorilla who can understand over 1,000 words. Ambrose thinks she's feeling anxious because she knows she might not be able to stay if the Malawi government get their way. She also really wants a baby. Mulder asks Scully and Ambrose to dissect Ganesh the elephant, and they find evidence of a pregnancy. So, yeah.
I love the elephant autopsy.
It's pretty cool.
It's brilliant. I mean, it doesn't look particularly real, but the fact that they're just standing in that carcass, just pulling out big things, it's an awesome visual.
It looks real enough, I gotta say.
There was a part sitting to the side that looked like shaped wood.
Right.
Which is only why it took my attention, but it looks really, really interesting. It's a great visual. I thought it was terrific.
It's some nice production design, I think.
Definitely.
But so what do you think of this gorilla then? Congo meets Gorillas in the Mist, I think. Yeah. I think this Willa Ambrose character, they're clearly setting her up, or trying to set her up as a kind of Diane Fossey type character. But obviously, without being played by Sigourney Weaver, you just don't have the class.
No forcing way.
No fussing way, no. Okay. So, we see two workmen after this who, they're just going about the business on a work site, and they hear the roar of a tiger. Okay.
In all fairness, they do that I would do. They crap themselves.
Yeah. It's pretty good. Oh, yeah, so it was a tiger. This is that same tiger, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah. All right, so Ed Meacham wants to go in guns blazing. Ambrose arrives with Mulder and Scully, ordering him to stand down so she can try a tranquilizer. Scully asks how the tiger got all the way across town without being seen. I asked how did it manage to do it without attacking somebody. But yeah, so this is a scene.
It is.
It is a scene.
Stuff happens.
Yeah, Meacham does remind me here of the famous douchebag cop from Jersey Devil, who, Mr. Charisma, who just read his lines dryly and then shot her at the end. He just wants to go in and shoot first and not even bother with questions later. So,
I tell you what, I'm kind of on his side.
Yeah, to an extent, yeah. I
think she's been overly cautious and he's been a bit overly aggressive. There needs to be some kind of
middle ground between the two. Yeah,
definitely. But if it's a tiger you're dealing with, I'd rather have a gun than a tranquilizer gun.
I think the key is to send both in at the same time. Her with her trank, let her have first crack, and just have him there as backup. But anyway, the tiger goes for Ambrose. She goes in there in the dark, trying to find this thing. Doesn't see it creeping up behind her. I like the shot actually where it comes up and they see it about to pounce. It's pretty cool the way they've shot that. It is about to get her, but thanks to Meacham, who was probably right to go with his instinct, he shoots it and just drops the line. They don't all talk and draw pictures, which is, a fair enough point. She's treating all these animals like they're her pets, her friends, her buddies, and the fact is, these are wild animals. Yeah, these are wild animals, so, not all of them are going to play nice. So, okay. So we go from there to a bit of a really stagey sequence in which the board of directors at the zoo just finish up telling Ambrose that they're going to cut funding and close the zoo. And it's just a really awkward looking scene because it's like, I don't know, it's just the line of dialogue they used at the end, just as they're getting up and walking out. It feels, I don't know, a bit misplaced. Like they wouldn't have said it there, and that maybe they wouldn't have needed this massive get-together just to tell her that, hey, you know what, we're shutting you down. It all feels very hokey. But Mulder comes in, tells Ambrose his wacky theory of alien abduction to preserve the endangered species, and that's when I wrote in my notes Star Trek 4 Voyage Home, because and like I think I got that as well, because in that scene, as they're talking, as Mulder is delivering his theory about the alien abduction to preserve species, what is behind them? Behind some glass, but a whale. It's a big whale. They couldn't have spelled it out any clearer. This is
I don't think I even noticed the whale.
Did you not? Seriously? It's a bloody big fish of some kind anyway, a porpoise or something, I don't know, but
didn't notice.
There's a big water tank behind them where they're stood, and something of a whale-like variety is going by. So at this point I'm just like, they're not even trying to hide the fact that they have robbed the story from Star Trek 4. Okay. So they go to ask Sophie. So Mulder says, you know what, let's ask the gorilla what she thinks. And Sophie essentially tells them that she's afraid her baby is going to be taken by the light. Then someone comes to serve Ambrose papers to take Sophie into protective custody.
It's just, it feels really clunky. It feels as if the writers have just been like, I can't be bothered this week. What will we do? Just why don't we just have somebody walking me about a paper saying we're going to take your baby away from you? Ambrose.
It feels to me like this is like in season 1 they had Darkness Falls, and you thought it was awesome. I thought it was average. It was a ice knockoff, but regardless of our thoughts on that episode, it won quite a few awards from various eco groups, preservation groups, animal rights, forestry groups, that kind of thing. Like what kind of judgment they get to have on how well movies and TV shows are made, I don't know, but they gave it quite a few awards anyway, Darkness Falls. And this episode feels like the writers have gone, hey, remember last year when we got some kudos from some of the environmental groups? Maybe we need to write another episode that is kind of heavy on the animal rights message kind of thing. That's literally what this episode feels like they're ticking a box.
Yeah. But with that one, you had the forestry people and the eco people butting heads. Like this time you've got eco warrior zoo people versus eco warrior not zoo people, both trying to free the animals and give them a better life. There's nothing for them to butt heads against.
It's just it's there's not enough tension. That's the key, isn't it?
No conflict.
No, not enough. So Ambrose goes to ask for help from Kyle. Don't quite know why at this point. Seems a bit weird. But it's all cleared up very quickly as Scully finds a connection between Ambrose and Kyle. And it turns out they were both activists. So, yeah, they freed Sophie together, apparently.
I can't quite remember it, but how did she find it again? It was a newspaper article?
Yeah,
Don't know.
that's it, really. She found it in a newspaper article.
Yeah, but I think she says she found it in an office or a drawer or a file or something, but it feels like another contrivance. It literally feels like the story's being told to us, not shown to us.
Yeah, absolutely. So at this point, I'm kind of losing interest, but Kyle comes to the zoo looking for Ambrose. So he's had a very, very quick change of heart by the look of it. He finds Sophie's open cage, then he's attacked by someone and a large crate falls on his head. And at this point, are you under any kind of, I don't know, intrigue as to who has taken him down?
Well, since this episode has Scully, Mulder and 3 other people, it's not exactly hard to figure out what's going on here.
Clearly Meacham is responsible.
Yeah.
Okay. Like,
I'm not even... boil it down, there is literally 3 characters other than Mulder and Scully.
Yeah, there is. Like, it just... Literally, he gets tasered, because you see that it's like something electrical hits him, and I'm like, Meacham. Yeah. I literally just started going, cattle prod, Meacham.
Yeah.
Just knew it was him. Okay.
Yeah,
so
you know Ambrose would just talk to him because she's already asked him to steal.
Yeah, obviously. So okay. So again, no tension, no mystery, no intrigue. Just doesn't work. No interest. So Mulder and Scully question Ambrose, who is the prime suspect. Scully asks her if she had gone to see Kyle for help. She says no, so instantly we know she's a liar. When Scully begins to probe into her history with the guy, Ambrose turns the attention to Mulder and his wacky theories, once again getting defensive.
Yeah, I can see the finish line, and I am eager to get there, Brian.
Yeah, I just don't like this woman, No. Like, when you see an animal rights activist in a film or a TV show, if you do them right, if you do them properly, they should be the most likable characters. These are people who are trying to save animals. They have very noble intentions, and it's like they're on the whole, these people tend to be quite likable. A bit wacky at times, a bit wacky at times, but likable. Yet this woman just isn't, and the fact that we know she's a liar now, she's clearly a liar. Just doesn't do anything to make us warm to her. But Mulder suspects foul play on Ambrose's part. His radar is slightly off on this one, I think. He tells Scully to check the body while he checks out the warehouse. Once again, splitting up. It's like, really? At least, I don't know, take someone with you? This is now a murder investigation after all, surely one of the local law enforcement people can busy themselves with the body while you two go and check out this warehouse, or at least take one of these local law enforcement people with you to the warehouse. It makes no sense. Right now, in this small town, surely this is the number one case for the local law enforcement. Ridiculous.
Yeah. So, Big Ed is up to something.
Yeah. So Mulder sees Meacham doing. Yeah, that's exactly what I put. Mulder sees Meacham doing ... something. Because literally all we see is him mulling around outside a warehouse.
Yeah.
Then Scully goes to arrest Ambrose for Kyle's death after finding evidence of a cattle prod being used. She says it was Ed who did it and that it was an accident. Ed is holding Sophie in a building somewhere. And here's the thing, like, I alluded to this earlier on at the start, which is that now all of a sudden these two are kind of pally and buddy and covering up murders for each other and trying to rescue gorillas for each other. It's like the only conceivable way I could see this happening is that if Ambrose found out that Meacham did this and is now blackmailing him, forcing him to help her hide the gorilla. I don't know.
Well, Big Ed mentions that he's been paid.
Mm.
So he's done it for money.
Yeah. Just like the dynamics between these two are just...
It's really lazy writing.
Yeah, they're all over the place. So Mulder goes in, gets Meacham to take him to Sophie. Ed locks him in with the gorilla and does a runner. Sophie hits Mulder before settling down, and then she's abducted.
Yeah, it's a cool scene. It's another. I like it when he's kind of locked in there. You feel a little bit of tension because he's locked in with a wild animal who attacks him, and then the inevitable happens. And let's face it, there's no surprise here. I was waiting on it.
Yeah, pretty much. So Mulder wakes up with Scully at his side. She says they picked up Meacham and Ambrose is in the car outside. Mulder goes to speak to Ambrose to ask her what the sign language meant that Sophie used before being abducted. So just before she was abducted, she looked at him, signed something, and it means man save man. Yeah, okay. Very thick, heavy-handed message about how we're all destroying the world and we need to look out for ourselves. All right, so they get a radio call about a gorilla that's been hit on the side of the road. They go, they see the gorilla, it's on the side of the road, it's dead. Ambrose is tearful, she's all crying, oh no, Sophie, why? Mulder and Scully drive home, not saying a word to each other, really somber, sad times. Mulder's voiceover is happening. I can't remember a word he said because by this point I've completely zoned out. And that is how the episode closes. There you go, Fearful Symmetry.
Yes, I'll jump into this one, Brian, because I can make it short and sweet.
Go on.
Of all the faults that we talked about, the poor writing, the things just happening for contrivance's sake or coincidence sake, the worst thing that this episode does is that it's just really boring. It's tedious. It's a slog to get through. It has one or two interesting visual scenes, but that's not enough to elevate it above mediocrity, which this is. I think I've been overscoring a lot of the episodes, Brian, this season, and I'm not doing it this time. I think this one it was quite clearly 1.5 out of 5.
Yeah, as is often the case when me and you kind of sit down for these podcasts and start talking about them, an episode that I kind of put as average, middle of the road, can suddenly become actually fairly piss poor. I did actually score this as a 3, and through speaking about it, through talking about the inadequacies of it and just how they mount up, it's just really hammered home how bad they are. And like you say, I'm not going to give it a pass, so I'm knocking that down. This is getting a 2 out of 5 from me, and it's that the worst thing you can do is bore me, you know? You can be bad, but don't bore me. Like, Jason Goes to Hell is a really piss-poor film. It is badly made, it is badly scripted, it is badly acted. But man, if it's not entertaining, You know, I can watch Jason Goes to Hell a few times. It's entertaining, at least. So this is not. You know, the worst thing you can do is bore me. And this bores me. So it gets a 2 out of 5. Like you said, some nice visuals, a couple of funny moments, but on the whole, boring.
I've kind of made it. I feel as if, looking back at this season and last season and looking at the scores that were given out, I feel as if this one has had a lot of average episodes that have maybe eked a little half star more than they should have, or maybe a full star, and I just feel as if it's time to rein that back. And if an interesting episode is there, great. If there's one that's just feels as if it's filler, I'm going to have to be honest with that score, I think, a little bit more.
Yeah.
But
I don't think it helps either coming off the back of Colony and Endgame.
No.
Because it's when you come off that kind of high, where you realise just how good these writers can be when they're at the top of the game, and how good the direction of the show is, you know, all the special effects, the action, the relationship between Mulder and Scully. In those 2 episodes, it was at its best, you know. You come off those and you're on a high. You instantly want to stick the next episode on. And then when the next episode is this, it's really deflating. It's really demoralising. It brings you down. And it's like, man, it's just, what are they playing at? So, yeah, I totally get what you're saying. And, yeah, this can't have a free pass. Colony and Endgame are 5-star, absolute classic X-Files. This is just boring.
Now, everything has a bright side, and let's look at this bright side. The next episode, Brian, episode 19, Dodcam. Tell me how this is going to save the day and reinvigorate the X-Files experience here.
Oh, man, I'm so sorry. I really do apologise. But there's a very real possibility that they put 2 of the poorest season 2 episodes on straight after one another. Because I remember I've seen Dodcam once, maybe twice. I think I saw it when it first aired, and I saw it when I first bought my box set, my DVD box set. I've not seen it since buying my Blu-ray one. But yeah, literally twice. And both times, it makes Fearful Symmetry look like a fairly exciting run, because I remember it being the most dull episode up to this point. So, yeah, sorry, but it's not about to get any better. It's about to get worse. But we do have some highs. Let me encourage you. Look at it this way. They're trying to get the crap out of the way so that as we get towards the end of the season, we can start getting some solid stuff, some entertaining stuff. So I'm looking forward to getting to Soft Light. I'm looking forward definitely to getting to Anasazi. There's another one, can't remember. Oh, Humbug, blimey, Humbug. Humbug is coming, okay? So just be encouraged. Humbug is coming.
I'll try.
I think you're going to love Humbug. So, yeah, stick with it. Have faith.
There we have it, people. We may be back for Dodcam. Who knows? We'll see. As always, thank you for listening. If you'd like to pop over to iTunes and rate, review us, we would really appreciate that. And also, if you are a big X-Files fan and you're watching season 11, I think it is, just now, Brian has a breakdown of each episode on his YouTube channel. I encourage you to go over and check that out. Myself, I don't want to spoil myself because I know I'll get to season 11 in 4 or 5 years, so I don't want it ruined. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on the X-Files Revisited.